as we enter into the bank holiday weekend, let's just give a little reminder of that beast that I like to call the hangover. Sometimes, when we drink too much, we get a hangover. There is no cure for a hangover, but it can be treated with a cup of tea or a couple of fried breakfasts. A good hangover should be a total mystery to you. How did this happen? Why do I feel so ill? Pretend to yourself that you drank less than you did. Insist you stuck to beer, forgetting the champagne at the start of the evening and the round of jalapeno tequilas you did for a bet in that club next to a dual carriageway at 2 a.m. Some hangover symptoms are caused by impurities which enter the body along with the alcohol. These impurities can include methanol, acetone, E's, whiz, tannins, grab bags of Wotsits, railway grade pasties, and a KFC Zinger Tower burger. What a confusing world it can seem with a hangover. Sit as still as you can. Do not attempt to make any decisions. Look out of the window. Can you recognise simple shapes or colours? Is there a moon or a sun in the sky? What sort of name might you have? Might there be bacon? Consuming alcohol lowers the body's reserves of vital elements such as iron, potassium, water and bacon. Every unit of alcohol kills the equivalent of 2 inches of bacon, which must be replaced the next morning. Prepare a hangover first aid kit of a banana and a pint of water to put beside your bed before going out for an evening's drinking. So when you wake fully dressed the next morning, you can look at the untouched glass of water and the uneaten banana and wonder who left them there and why. Peggy is trying hair of the dog to get rid of her hangover. She was drinking gin last night, so a sip from a gin bottle will help put her body back in balance. Peggy does not know where the recorder came from. She does remember stealing a busker's hat for her cab fare home. Maybe that explains it. Len's mouth feels like he fell asleep tongue first on an antique bear pelt. His heart is galloping, his hair aches, and he worries there is sweat building underneath his fingernails. Len's come outside for some fresh air, but now remembers he is scared by the fresh air today. Maybe the policeman can help. "Can I get you a drink, Len?" asks the policeman. Michael is bored. Mummy's not moved since she puts the DVD on. The menu screen has been going round and round for 2 hours. Mummy forgot to press play. Michael should not have woken poor Mummy up so early. Friday night work drinks went on longer than expected. Ron had a head like a smelting works full of howler monkeys on ephedrine. Ron is glad Saturday mornings require little more than a vocabulary, reasoning and motor skills of a 7-year-old. Ron is happy on the floor. Later he will try to buy a bulb of garlic at the self-service checkout and burst into tears. The morning after the party, Emmerich is awoken by a stray cat licking his face. He has slept under a hedge and cannot remember a thing. Emmerich uses street signs and clues from his clothing to piece together where he lives and what he does for a living. Emmerich hopes it was a fancy dress party. If these are his work clothes, no wonder he needed to drink. The morning after a wedding, everyone feels a little worse for wear. It can seem like there are no grown-ups left in charge. What will happen? Who will help us? Is this the end? What if the earth crashes into the sun? Do not panic. Soon the hangover will be over, and you can all celebrate with a nice drink. Going to work with a hangover might seem impossible, but it's important you do not lose your job, even if that were the reason you got drunk. Try to turn up at the usual times, say hello to everyone, and then a little nap somewhere quiet, such as the roof. What's the worst that could happen? Hector knows the best way to avoid a hangover is to remember how bad he felt the last time he drank too much wine. Sadly, after the first glass of wine, Hector remembers feeling quite good, and the next glass makes him feel even better. I'm invincible, roars Hector. Try not to drive or operate heavy machinery with a hangover. Last night, Bernie and his crew celebrated the winning Works Canteen quiz, and now they're going to have to build this part of the hospital again. Susan woke up next to a full glass of wine. She left it by the bedside in case she became thirsty during the night. Susan does not know whose flat it was or where the nearest station might be. At least she's dressed properly in case there's another party on the walk home. This cat is judging you. Get off the floor and put some underwear on. If you are drinking something unfamiliar, be prepared for it to affect you in different ways. The distillation acts of the 17th century introduced gin to many British towns for the first time ever. This is Canterbury. Tony took £150 out from the cash machine after work. He woke up drenched in sweat with loose change all over his bed. Tony hopes the mini coins will be enough to go and buy an important breakfast. Tony has 72 pence. Most shops offer refunds for purchases you discover you made whilst drunk, as long as you keep the packaging and the receipt. For younger people, hangover symptoms are mainly physical. The body is listless, the head is sore. They crave food for no reason and spend a long time in the toilet. For older people, this is perfectly normal. So for them, a hangover is more spiritual. The morning after consuming alcohol, you may find you are more sensitive to noise. Some people actually see sounds. It's almost like as if drinking gives you superpowers. While the effects wear off, remember you do not have to get out of the way of birdsong or duck when someone calls your name. There are lots of ways of avoiding a hangover. Try vomiting regularly into a bag. Put a brick on the bag and keep vomiting until the bag is full enough to tip it over. Or set yourself limits. Try drinking only what you can get into your body without touching the container. This is also a good way of turning drinking from a chore into a game. Winston Churchill was Prime Minister of Britain from 1940 to 1945, and then again from 1951 to 1955. He was the first Lord of the Admiralty in the Great War, won the Nobel Prize in Literature, and led the Allies to defeat Nazi Germany in the Second World War. He had a persistent and nagging hangover from 1892 to 1965 when he died. He never surrendered. The end.